Imagine vanishing without a trace. Not a shipwreck, not a plane crash with debris scattered across the ocean. Just gone. Disappeared into thin air. That's the unsettling reality of Flight 19, a story inextricably linked with the most infamous patch of ocean on Earth, the Bermuda Triangle. This is a tale of a missing aircraft, a cold case that continues to baffle experts and fuel our deepest fears about the unknown. The disappearance of Flight 19 is one of the most perplexing mysteries in aviation history. This wasn't some random civilian plane, this was a group of 5 US Navy TBM Avenger torpedo bombers, all vanished on a training flight back in 1945. The official reports are perplexing. And the lack of any wreckage leaves a trail of unanswered questions. December 5, 1945. The day started clear at the Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale in Florida. 5 Avenger torpedo bombers, each with a pilot and sometimes crew members, were preparing for a routine navigation and bombing exercise. This was known as Navigation Problem Number 1. Lieutenant Charles Carroll Taylor, the seasoned flight leader with 2,500 flying hours of experience, was leading 4 trainee pilots and 9 aircrew members. Each of the planes was thoroughly checked and fully fueled, yet oddly, the planes were missing their clocks. They were supposed to fly due east for 56 nautical miles to bomb Hens and Chickens Shoals. Then continue for another 67 miles. Then they were to take a turn at a 346 heading for 73 miles before doing a final turn at a 241 heading before returning to base. A typical flight for the period. The mission took off around 2:10 p.m. Around 3:45 p.m., Fort Lauderdale Tower received a call from the flight leader that was far from routine. The tower picked up conversation from Flight 19, "I've got one more bomb," but quickly after that the tower personnel heard the voice of the flight leader, Lieutenant Taylor, sounding confused, "I cannot see land. We seem to be off course." He wasn't requesting landing instructions like he should have been. What followed was a series of increasingly concerning radio calls. Voices from the crew became more frantic and disoriented. They couldn't find west, they were unsure of their direction, and even the ocean, they reported, looked strange. Both of the flight leader's compasses had failed. He was sure he was over the Florida Keys, but he couldn't pinpoint his location. He even handed over command to another pilot at one point. The new leader called into the tower. His voice was trembling. They said they were 225 miles northeast of base. The pilot rambled before saying their final words, "It looks like we are entering white water. We're completely lost." A search and rescue operation was launched. A PBM Mariner flying boat with 13 crew members was sent to locate Flight 19's last known position. That very plane contacted the tower 10 minutes after liftoff, then they were never heard from again. A massive search and rescue mission began. Ships and aircraft combed over 250,000 square miles of the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico. They searched in the water and even on land, and this included search parties on the interior of Florida. There was no wreckage, no bodies, no debris. The SS Gaines Mill, a tanker, later reported seeing a burst of flames in the area. The flames leaped over 100 feet into the air and burned for 10 minutes before crashing and exploding into the sea. The USS Solomons then reported that they could see the explosion on radar in the same area. However, no wreckage was ever recovered. The PBM, it seemed, also vanished. The Navy investigation attempted to find answers. The Navy's conclusion pointed to pilot error and disorientation. The report suggested that Lieutenant Taylor had misidentified a group of islands as the Florida Keys. Because of this, he took his flight out to sea, over the Atlantic. The report points out that he seemed to not want to switch to his search and rescue frequencies. Some of his crews seemed to think they were in the wrong place, but military discipline stopped them from going against their flight leader. The report also states that their compasses failed. Adding to the disorientation, the PBM report was given to a mid-air explosion. The report was later amended by the Navy to read cause unknown to remove blame on Lieutenant Taylor. The lack of wreckage and the suddenness of the disappearance left many questions. A plethora of theories have sprung up, ranging from sudden storms and rough seas to magnetic anomalies messing up compass readings, to even otherworldly explanations. And, of course, all of this became part of the myth of the Bermuda Triangle. There were accounts that some subordinate pilots may have known their general location and tried to advise others to fly west but were unable to. Ultimately, the true fate of Flight 19 remains unknown. It's a tragedy shrouded in mystery, a chilling reminder of the power of the ocean and the vastness of the unknown. If you enjoy mystery, true crime, and dark stories, smash the subscribe button as we share these stories every Tuesdays and Thursdays.